proud.
I hear all of you. And by the way, it is absolutely not my birthday, but I appreciate y'all told on yourself that you spend the day on Facebook.
Why was it saying that it was
not your birthday? Or
I have no idea.
When is
Tomorrow, right?
February 7th.
Oh.
Which I share with Kevin Caliste and Todd Falcone. How about that?
Kevin
and my husband.
Rhode Island is also on the 7th. That's so nice. So it's not today.
That's strange.
Not today.
Well, I'll
But
remember
thank
that
you.
on the 7th then.
We are streaming.
Yeah, my husband's on the 7th too. So.
Your
right.
husband's on the
call.
7th? Wow. Yeah. What's 10 months from
I don't want to have this conversation with anyone.
I had a hilarious conversation with a kid who was 18 years old, but we had the same birthday, and so we were like just talking about and it's like, oh 9 months, and I'm like, no, 10 months, and so we started doing math, and it's like, oh, ooh, what, no, stop, what, no, don't, All right, can you believe we still have so much left of January? Like, we've got the rest of tonight. That's a lot of time, right? We've got all of tomorrow. That's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's bananas. What do we do with that time? We'll wait for some other folks to come on. The stream is going. Everyone, if you could just confirm for me that you could see it. I will just let you know, Jim, and I'm not sure if you're aware, but Amanda is my assistant, and she's been helping me get these captioned post event. So we do make sure that our teams are able to get it, and so that's just to protect that in the back of your mind, that we do have a process for that. So
perfect.
Yeah, excellent.
I'm welcoming everybody in the Facebook group.
Fab. Yeah, let me see.
And I'll share it to.
I was just thinking, I had some work. I've been, doing so many things, and I took a big fat nap today, like enormous. Like it was mountainous this size. And I fought it. Like I tried to I'm like, I need to get up and make calls. And I was like, I'm not getting up to make calls.
Yeah. You gotta listen to your body.
Yep, it had its own agenda, for sure. We are at 9/11. 9/11. So welcome. Super excited. Jim and I had a good call. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how today plays out.
I can't wait either, because I don't feel like I'm that prepared. But luckily, I've been doing this a long time. We'll be fine.
I'm not worried. Are you kidding me? I was born for this. I was born ready. I was born ready. I'm so rested right now. I don't feel I'm so peaceful. Working hard though. I know Lisa, you were saying Lisa was saying that she got the second injection for the vaccine, and that in itself has its own kind of pros and cons, right? Because it's taking, that second vaccine seems to be taking people out. So since we have a few minutes, just reminding folks that if you are getting the vaccine, the second one you might be feeling it for a couple days. So certainly equip yourself, be prepared.
It was only a day, maybe 24 hours, not even really, but
I've heard a couple. The few stories that I have, like from personal accounts, it's a range. It's from 1 day to like a couple people are like, I'm just feeling better, like not right. So that probably is a couple days of,
I mean, my arm is still sore, but like, I mean, today I felt great. I went snowshoeing, and like, you just like, okay, I'm ready to get down to business. And but it was just that 1 day that it was just I was down and out.
You're protected, you're immunized. That's
I hope so. They say 94%, so protected.
Excellent. We're at 9:13, and we remember that we are streaming. So hello to everybody out there who is signing in, signing on. If you're seeing us in the moment, or if you're seeing us later, we love you. We're so excited that you're joining us every week. And and we're just here to build community. So it's so exciting to know that you guys are checking in and popping on. So we're at 2 minutes out. And we are in New England, and so I know many of us have been seeing some snow. I am very pleased, at least on this end here in the city, we have not gotten a lot, but we have some snow. Um, so I hope you all are staying safe. Keep in mind, especially since we haven't been driving as a nation, that you know that the roads can get slick. Yesterday I spent my time again. This is all about sharing information and make sure your tires are filled. Having, like anything, right, you have to make sure you have all of your equipment ready to go. And I filled up my tires because that impacts traction, which impacts my ability to be safe on the road, right? So here we are in the middle of winter. We've got a lot of beautiful things ahead. Hello, Connie Ayat. How you doing? We've got 1 minute to go. 1 minute.
Hello.
Hello. Michael, my friend. We had a good conversation this week.
Welcome, everyone.
We had a great combo this week. What a treat to see you. Fantastic. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because we are coming to that time. We are coming very soon to the start of our meeting, which I will be very prompt for. Oh, let's see if I can do this. Perfect. Well, hello, everybody. It is, in fact, 9:15. My name is Jo Welch. It is such a pleasure to meet you. I'm here in the amazing state of Massachusetts. But one of the awesome bits about what's going on these days here in Massachusetts is that we share this space, this meeting every single week with 3 other states. And I think, one of the things that Jim and I spoke about is really about what it is to be in New England and to have New England culture. So nothing could have been a better decision than to have us come together as a New England, the northern 4 states. I don't know if I ever tell you my story, and I realize that especially as we're modeling all of the different pieces of our, who we are as Legal Shield associates, I think it's important. I think our stories are the one thing that we need to tell. And so for me, I came from immigrant parents. I grew up as a first generation American. And for the longest time, I felt that that the things that were out there were not for me. Legal services, the police, I had carried my parents' posture as immigrants because they weren't from here, whereas I was as an American. And for a long time, that really impacted how I made decisions, how I saw myself interface with the world. The first thing that came up for me was identity theft and not feeling and not knowing even where to start with resources. And someone pointed me at our services for ID Shield, then turned me onto the legal services. But yet again, I didn't think I was worthy. And you guys have met me, if you know me, if you watch me, I do talk about how do we see ourselves, what is our mindset in terms of our value. And this is really where it comes from me, whereas I didn't believe I was worthy enough to have expert resources at the ready. And when I got it, this phrase comes to mind. It took me a while to get used to it. I had to get used to the idea that I could access something that would actually be better in my world. That, of course, my passion, my love for entrepreneurship, my involvement with the Latino community, the deaf community, my own involvement watching how powerless I felt for myself. Of course, the next step was to become a Legal Shield associate. And in the toughest times of my life, most recently before COVID, Legal Shield was there for me, showing me consistency and support and allowing me to become the leader that I want to be. So it's just a little nugget about who I am and how I got here. And I bring that to you because every one of us has a story to tell. It's so important, and we all need to be sharing that story. Moving from there, let me see there we go. I just want to remind you, we do have this little card, kind of gives you a bit of the overview. It does have Jim Tanner's phone number on it. It has mine as well. So just a reminder to everybody, you can certainly screenshot it. It's in the Facebook page, but these numbers allow you to reach out to us. And some folks have been reaching out. Maybe you are wondering like, well, should I really reach out to them? They're not in my upline. They're not part of my team. The reality is that servant leadership is for all of us and to all of us and from all of us. So it could be that maybe you have a question that's an easy fix. It could be a question that maybe the Massachusetts frame that we bring to the table is helpful. And it's a know also that what we're building here is always going to redirect you back to your own team. They're building something that's incredibly special. They have a way that they want you to do it. I'm very blessed to see so many of my team members here. And, the reality is that the resources are there and that you're going to be able to find that help no matter where you go. And you also have team culture, which you're meant to nurture and encourage and share. And so you're always welcome to reach out to us. And so we do have a lot of deaf folks who join us. I do have a large deaf team. I hope someday you also do. And we do have on this little card the call-in number. So if somebody does want to reach out to an interpreter to bring into this call, they can, and they do that via that number. Also, little plug, if you're going to host an event and you're using Zoom, the easiest thing to do to make it accessible is make sure that those numbers are available, because that means that if a deaf person does come on, they can just go ahead and facilitate their own access without issue. So that is all of that. It's just this wonderful little friendly reminder. I try to update it every 6 months. International conference coming up. We'll talk about that. Now, my favorite part, because I get to celebrate individuals. I know that this list is eventually going to become too long for us to list everybody by name, but in the meantime, we're going to celebrate Brenda Lewis for making a difference. We know what making a difference is. It's protecting one family. That is a fantastic, great way to come into the business. Start with that goal. Jim, did I see you wiggle at me? Do you want to take a minute? Nope. All right, cool. Brenda Lewis, Joseph Amakoa, Vincent Lindo, Holly Lavero, Lisa Day, Lasaint Shabulia, Nautilus Partners, Tina Colby, Connie Ayat, Lambert Cabarundi, Stan Snow, Laura Stubbs, Legrand Amisi, Bob Sheasley, EBS Insurance, Cheryl Miller, Eglatine Lamani, Trudy Hightower, Harry Withy, Augustine Donina, Yvette Eldridge, Julie Gershon, Amanda Scott, Dianji Affo, Diane Campbell, Ernesto Pinder, Darcy Scher, Fitzgerald Santine. Again, this is so exciting. What is that? That's 3 or 4 slides worth of names. I'm so excited for you guys all on it. We still have 4 more days left in the month, so I cannot wait to see what next week brings, because we know we're going to see way more names. And then, oh, I had forgot. You know what? There was another slide. Daniel and Michelle True, Victor Chow, Marcel Milongo, James Schwartz, and Donald Ferreira. I am Latina, so if you think that every name sounds Latino, it's because that's how my brain processes the accent. So I do remind everyone, we have a lot of different cultures represented here, a lot of different names that are in other languages. Know that it is very important to me as an interpreter, also as we're building our community here, that if I don't get your name right, you are always welcome to let me know if I can pronounce it better. If you like the way I say it better, I will happily continue doing that. I have a few friends, they're like, that's just so much better than what I am. Like, okay. So I am happy to do that, but you are always welcome to let me know. Now, this is the big piece, right? We have 4 days left. That MAD piece, that's an excellent piece, but the PC Performance Club, that's what we want. That's what we want for our full team. We want to make sure that everybody is reaching that $100 mark. And we have until Sunday. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. But let's celebrate the folks who are on Performance Club. We've got Nola Fennessy, woo, in Maine. We got Julie Gershon, Jim Tanner, and Joe Welch from Massachusetts. We have Yvette Eldridge from New Hampshire and Bobby O'Connor from Vermont. What a wonderful list of folks. And I cannot wait. See, second month. So who got PC last month? In fact, if you have any celebrations that you would like us to know about, if anybody leveled up, for example, please certainly let us know, because it's a worthwhile celebration. Just go ahead and put that in the chat. And so next, we also have the reminder of the save the dates. We're going to be announcing our February one in the next slide, but if you are looking for and also sharing with your team how to book their calendar to save the time, we know that these Super Saturdays is where it's at. The Super Saturday is happening on these dates in our area. There's usually an amazing top leader who's coming to share information and to help give a training. There's always a briefing that happens at the beginning. So you're able to bring people to that event. And those Super Saturdays, I gotta be honest, that's a great place for that person who, you know, the open house is a good thing, but really they want to see kind of behind the scenes. So if they stick around, no one's going to kick them off. They can watch a little bit of how we train. And for me personally, that's actually been a very convincing moment for some folks where they go, I want to be a part of this. I want this level of attention and training. And so, let's see there. No, is it gonna? I seem to be, maybe it's the next one. All right, cool. The big event coming up is our St. Louis convention. We were just talking about vaccines. We're hoping that we're going to see, you know, definitely a raising of everybody's health and immunization and being able to be in public. I want to remind you that Legal Shield is always incredibly cautious and thoughtful about the process. If it's not safe, if that's how it gets determined, we will do something, maybe a hybrid, maybe on video. So what we have seen in the past is that Legal Shield is aware. So let's just get that out of your mind. We're not going to worry about how that works. We're going to say, absolutely, I need to be at this conference. And if you've been to the conferences, you've seen that we bring in star-studded, not just leaders in our business, but also market leaders and thought leaders who are coming in. If you remember the last conference, Jeff Bell started with pretty much the history of all things marketing, starting back at like Socrates and Plato, and really looking like taking a literate journey of why the things we do are important. And so when you see that level of commitment and understanding of why we do what we do, you know that we're on the right track, and that Legal Shield is providing a training that is not, you can't compare it to anybody else. So those tickets right now, they're your leaders, your uplines, your executive directors, your platinums, the people above you, not just the person who brought you in, but the people above you very likely have a bundle. So you definitely want to go on and say, hey, who's got a ticket? Get the ticket. Don't make Missouri be part of the decision, because that is a detail that gets handled later. What needs to happen is, for small money, you need access to this unbelievable amount of training and wisdom. Now, I love this. It's hard to believe, since we're all home and we're not inundated by the decor of every supermarket and CVS, to remind us that Valentine's Day is around the corner. I will give you a heads up that Valentine's Day is the day after this meeting. So you start thinking, get those presents for your partner, for the loved ones, for your mom. Think about it now. You've got 2 weeks right now. I'm giving you a running start, but this is just an amazing Super Saturday that's coming up on February 13th. We have this Millionaire Club member and MVP from the Pacific Northwest region, Steve Hoisington, who's going to talk to about 2-a-day prospecting. 2-a-day prospecting leading to a 6-figure life. And for those who are like, how many figures are 6 figures? It's 1 with 5 zeros, and that's $100,000. And you know what's funny is I do many things, and I use I use this notebook, but I do talk about, you know, how many zeros is that, and you know, how much do you want to work? What zero club do you want to be in? Do you want to be in the 2-0 club? Do you want to be in the 3-0 club? Do you want to be in the 4-0 club? The 5-0 club? Right? That's what we're talking. 6. I don't even have a 0 to go at the end of this. The 0 is $1 million with 2 prospects a day. So again, just that reminder that we're doing this deliberately, we're doing this on purpose. Come out, train, make sure that your people are coming out to these as well. And we will have, there is in the deaf leadership, they do have a separate ASL only Super Saturday. And if it's not in conflict with this, we will of course have the phone number so people can log in. Are we already there? We are. This ridiculously handsome man who, like many celebrities, was mistaken for having a birthday today. That's what happens when you reach certain levels of fame. But
still send the gifts. It's
all right. It's still, but his birthday's on the 7th, so don't send them yet. You can send them in February, so you can move that gift tax item to your February piece. But nobody, nobody is more amazing, more loving, and more just so generous with his knowledge, his time, and his leadership than Jim Tanner, who has become a very personal dear friend of mine. We geek out on the regular every single week, and I got to tell you, I love it. And then we get to bring that geekiness to you guys, which is even better. He is a millionaire club member, $100,000 ring earner, father of Olive, who is going to rule the world. 2 weeks, no, 10 days till his birthday, and also my partner in crime here, Jim Tanner. Welcome. I'm actually going to spotlight you. I realize I have been
Oh, hey, look at me.
unspotlit. So you're going to go ahead.
That's a lot of me. Thank you. Hello, everyone. What a great list of names on Mad Streak, and Performance Club is growing. And I made that slide, so I also know how many folks are right there at the cusp of 100 Performance Club points. So we're going to talk about that this evening. But before I do that, I just want to thank Jo. She always says such great, nice things about me, but I'm in awe of what she does on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, because she's got to do it all. She's a spouse and a mom, and she's a sign language interpreter. She speaks Spanish for us. She creates events for us all to plug into. And she also happens to be really good friends with everybody. Like, nobody feels like they can't get a little time and attention from Jo Welch. So congratulations for all you do. Spread thinner than smooth peanut butter across all 4 of these states and wherever else you're happening to help people. I saw you mute yourself because you're laughing. Good for you. That means I got a joke off this evening. Hey, I'm excited. I just want to say this. I'm going to turn it back over. Jo and I are just going to have a conversation with the rest of the group this evening. If you have been with me for any length of time, let me just calm down so I can do good training. You'll start to think all he talks about is time. You know, when it got to be the fourth quarter of 2020, all I talked about was finishing the year strong and starting 2021 the right way. And so you might think, well, why is he so concerned with time? The man with time freedom. Like, I can come and go and get up when I want to. I go to bed when I want to. I work from home. I work from wherever I am. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying why. Maybe you're wondering why time is so important to me. And here's why. I understand through the lens of looking back now 17 years. It'll be 17 years in Legal Shield in just a couple of weeks. Looking back through the lens of time, I understand the only regrets I have is that I didn't do more sooner, that I didn't understand how quickly time goes. When I was about to become a parent, and my my wife was getting ready to give birth to Olive, people would give me great advice, and they would say, it's going to happen so fast. They grow up so fast. And people that had children that were in elementary school or high school or college, or were just had their own families, because we have this vast Legal Shield family. I got advice from people at all these different stages of life. And the one thing they all had in common for advice was how fast it happens. And they were all right, by the way. I mean, some days I stare at my daughter and I swear I can see her getting taller just standing in a room. I mean, it does happen fast. All the parents, you understand that. But it wasn't a new concept to me, because I'd already lived this Legal Shield life, and I realized how quickly time goes by. Now, I wish I could put all that sand back in the bottle or all that toothpaste back in the tube and have my daughter be, that tiny thing I could hold in one hand again, like I could when she was born. And I know that that's not good for me or for her or anyone. I understand how quickly time goes by. I want you all to master your control over what you control. Now, you don't control time, and I don't control time, and I don't control how fast our children grow, and I do not control how fast the world spins or travels around the sun. You don't, I don't. We don't master our control over the 60 seconds in a minute, or the 60 minutes in an hour, or the 24 hours in a day. That's going to happen with or without us. We can get totally in control of the realization that that's happening, to live a life beyond our skin, to look beyond us being the picture in the frame, to discover and unfold the truth that time is going to pass. And we have to say to ourselves, It's not going to leave me behind. I'm not going to look back on my Legal Shield business a week, a month, a year, or a decade from now and say, I wish I could have. I wish I did. I wish I'd moved quicker. I wish I'd plugged in and listened more carefully to those that came before me that wanted to pour into me. Because regret weighs tons. And the discipline to do this business well and to do it in a meaningful way is a very, very small sacrifice compared to all of the people that I've heard say, if only I'd gotten more focused more quickly, if only I'd realized how quick the time was going to go by. You know, as a recruiter, and I hope you all consider yourselves recruiters, as a recruiter, I often talk to people that saw this opportunity and didn't seize this opportunity decades ago. It's not uncommon over the course of a calendar month for me to talk to someone who's in their 60s or 70s, and they'll say to me, you know, I looked at that. I could have gotten involved in that 30 years ago. And you can hear the regret. I've had grown men cry while telling me about their regrets that they didn't find this business sooner. See, we don't control the time, but we control how we attack the day and how we intentionally put ourselves in a position to win. And so I'm going to talk about time with Joe Welch tonight, and specifically around Performance Club. And Joe, I'm going to throw it back to you. I'd like you to just set the tone and the stage for what it means to be Performance Club qualified and Performance Club Pro, and what's left of the month and how that's going to work. So take careful notes, everyone, as both a student and a leader of a team. Even if you're brand new and you don't have your team yet, it's time to learn to lead. Now's the time. So Joe's going to go through some important details, and then we're going to talk strategy to make the most of the few days that are left in the month of January and why it's so critically important. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. And I wanted to share with you guys, the way this came up was, you know, we're always thinking about what can we bring to our community? What can we bring to you guys that is going to be meaningful? As I mentioned earlier, you do have your own teams, you have your own uplines, maybe you're part of ours. So the team culture piece, we really want to honor and respect where you guys are a part of. But because we're New England and there is something very special about us, we always want to make sure that you guys are leaving with a great nugget, something that's transferable no matter who you are. And the idea that came to mind was, how do you be PC in 4 days? So mine's the catchy like, how can I be PC in 4 days? And the reality is that whatever answer we give you, it's only going to matter if we do any action. So we're just going to go back to the basic building blocks. What we're looking at is sales. And if we think about a family that has children under the age of 18, we know that we can protect that family with a Legal Shield plan and an identity theft plan. If they get the Legal Shield and the identity theft 3 bureau, right? So $24.95 and $29.99, that comes out to $54.90, which we round up to $55. So if my goal is to get $100, because that's what it means to be PC in a month, right? So if my goal every month is to get PC qualified, it means that I need to have at least $100 worth of sales a month. So now that you know that one family is worth 55, and feel free to put your hands up, how many fingers, how many families do I need to protect in a month to get $100? Right? I'm seeing it. So one of the reasons I love talking about it this way is because this is doable. This is doable. Another way to look at it is, let's say you're only doing Legal Shield. Like, let's say you're just doing the $25 plan, because now you can do math too. If I'm only doing Legal Shield, that's all that people's doing. That's all they're doing. And again, it's $25 each. How many plans do I need to have to get $100 if they're $25 each? Let me see the fingers. This is doable, right? This is doable. Now, we happen to have 2 levels of PC. So the Performance Club, the value and the reason behind it and the why we incentivize it is because instead of just having you sit and take training after training after training and do these things, it's like, what is the behavior that we really want? We want this every month. 2 family plans. If you do that every single month, you're starting to build your own habit. You're building your mindset. And this becomes now your standard. I'm always going to do it. It's not your goal. If you watch the leadership show, April Hurst told us, we're building our standards. I'm going to make $100. I'm going to sell $100 in sales a month, depending on where you are in our compensation plan, where you are rank. That might bring you anywhere from a couple hundred to, if you keep going up, you're making a lot of money for those same 2 sales. But again, your standard is that you're making at least 2. But let's say you go, Joe, you're right, 2, that's it. Well, we have PC Pro, which means that you're doing $200 in sales. So if $100 was 2 family plans, how many family plans do I need to sell to get 200? Is this doable? Is this realistic? If you did nothing else except for checking off these 4 fingers a month, if you protected 4 families a month, you would already be PC Pro. And on that 4th month, you would start to receive a bonus. And that bonus just gets larger over time. Legal Shield will give me $6,000 this year because I will always have this at least done. So when we look at PC, let's look at it as the behavior. What is it, the thing that we want to do every month? And then we're gonna talk a little bit more about that. We're gonna figure out, how do we get to those 4 families? How do we get there? And I think that's where Jim is coming in, and we're gonna have a little more of a conversation. But I want to see some thumbs up. Are there any questions about what it means to mean? I see some notes in here. I will take a look. Some folks are helping me correct my slide with the dates. I will absolutely look at that. And that's on me, so I'll take care of that. But are there any questions about PC? If we want to be PC, that's $100 in sales. Let me see it one more time. How many families do we need to protect? And if you want to get that 200 level, how many families? All right. I think we got it, right? We got it. Jim.
We got it. Now let me talk about, because Joe just talked about what is the mechanics of reaching that standard. That sounds great. I've early on in my career left meetings like this. You know, it used to be conference calls because we didn't have Zoom, but I would leave a meeting like this and I'd say, sold, I get it. I understand why it's important. I'm in. And then hang up the phone and say, but how am I going to do that? And I've learned that often the first question we ask ourselves around the how, if we train our minds, we'll realize that it's almost never the right question. The default question we ask ourselves is almost never the right question. We say, how? How am I going to do that? Who is a part of how? We say, who am I going to talk to? Who would sign up for this? And how is not the question. The question is that you're trying to answer, why? If you can answer why, how tends to fall in line pretty easily. Now, let me talk to you about my why. And when we train you as a Legal Shield associate, we talk about your why in this higher concept, like, what is my why? What is my purpose? What is my motivation to build this business? Let's just talk about my why in getting Performance Club qualified. Joe did a great job. She talked about $6,000 a year in extra income. You know, I had a full-time job when I got started with my Legal Shield business, delivering furniture and appliances, but I also had a part-time job at the mall because I didn't make enough money. That part-time job at the mall did not pay $6,000 a year. And that is the bonus that Legal Shield pays for Performance Club Pro over the course of 12 months of being Performance Club Pro qualified. That is not the commission. You're going to get your commission. You're going to rank advance and move up through this consistent behavior. And you're also going to be rewarded with this bonus, $500 every single month as a Performance Club Pro qualifier. And of course, you know, you got to read the fine print on all of this, but that's the concept, right? So that's the why. Well, I'm going to earn this money. Also, here's another piece of the why. I talked to my team about this on Tuesday night. The speed of the leader determines the speed of the pack. And leadership is not what people think it is. Leadership, most people think, means knowing all the answers or being the best presenter or having, great looking clothes and being really sharp and sophisticated. People think being the leader is having thousands and thousands of people to follow you. I say being the leader, with, again, the ability to look back at the history of myself and all of my mentors in this business, being the leader is doing the thing you're going to ask other people to do, full stop. You're not sending your team out to do something that you are not doing. The speed of the leader determines the speed of the pack. You want an army of people that are Performance Club qualified. And the way you do that is not by telling them they should do it while you neglect it. The way you get that is by modeling the behavior you seek. So being Performance Club qualified, another why, is because only in being steadfast as a Performance Club qualifier will you have an organization of people that mirror that culture that you're creating. And you know what that does, Joe and everybody watching here? What that does is that creates an environment for you to become an executive director without the stress of scratching and clawing for $1,400 in premium, wondering where you're going to get 1 or 2 more sales at midnight on the last day of the month. It takes all of that away from it. It makes it fun to be an executive director because your team is accumulating the $1,400 in premium to qualify you as an executive director through their integrity-based behavior of having a minimum commitment of being Performance Club qualified. Last part of my why. Legal Shield is not like any other business. Anybody that wants to have the debate with me, we can have it offline anytime. I will win. Legal Shield is a line of products that you would tell other people about even if nobody pays you. And I can prove it because I did it for 10 years. My mom has a membership, my grandparents, a lot of my friends and family. And that was before I got involved in the business. You know what that means? That means that I was happy to tell people about this service. Even though nobody was offering to pay me, I had no idea that there was a business model that went with this. The reason I told people about Legal Shield was because I loved, and to this day love, my Legal Shield membership. I burn white hot with belief that every person in the United States and Canada tonight, when they go to bed, would be better off a Legal Shield member than they would be without it. To have a voice and advocacy, to know what your rights are, even when you don't always like to hear what the answer is from your attorney, to know what to do when you are presented with a document to sign, to know what to do when there's blue or red lights in your rear view mirror, to know what to do when you're in the wrong place at the wrong time or one of your children is, to know what to do when there's a knock on the door at a time of night when you know the only knocks that come to the door are bad news. To have that mobile app, to be able to tap that app and have your advocates, your heroes on the phone, your attorneys, 24/7, 365. That's what I do for a living. That's what you do for a living. And the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I use my membership. And because I use my membership, I don't ever hesitate to make a list of everyone I know. I don't ever hesitate to share it with people so that they know that this is an option for their life. And I don't hesitate to share it and follow up with people that said, I don't think I need that. I'm not sure. Maybe next year. I just can't afford it right now. Because I know that everybody's circumstances change, and those changes are happening not just daily, but by the hour. Listen, people's lives have been changed and upended moment to moment over the last 52 weeks, 365 days. All you have to do is look at the news, read the internet, peruse any opinion piece, and somebody will tell you that things are not fair. Well, everybody's felt things to be not fair for them or their family, for their work or their employees, for their circumstances, for their state, for their municipality, whether or not they could cross a line or renew their passport. Everybody has felt unfairness. People are wondering if they can stay in their apartments or maintain their mortgages. These are not the same people you talked to last year, last month, last week, or yesterday. Go back and talk to them again. Let them know you care enough to follow up. People do tell me no, but I know that no is not permanent unless I take it personally. then it becomes permanent. And I don't take it personally. I know we have an incredible service and that people deserve the option to sign up for it. And I would love to be a part of their Legal Shield story as a member, and of course, hopefully as an associate. So why do we do this? Because we lead from the front. We do what is the right thing to do, even when nobody's looking. And that's who the leaders are in Legal Shield. They're not just the people who've made millions of dollars. Listen, not everybody who's going to Performance Club qualify in January is a Millionaire Club member, but every Millionaire Club member is going to Performance Club qualify in January. Here's how you write that in your notebook. Success leaves clues. Back to you, Joe.
You know, I hope that, you know, when we're talking about the how, I'm going to always, from my vantage point, from this seat, I'm going to just show you the things that I'm doing in my how. You know, we talk about success leaves clues. Well, I have about 15 clue books that you know, I'm always listening and always learning. And I hope that every one of you, as we go down this journey, are starting to also adopt these kind of traits and behaviors. I'm learning how to track my numbers when we talk about how. When we're talking about the how, you know, we have to look at our future self and wonder, where do we want to be? Again, going back to standards, what does that mean for you to protect a family? If you've got the same red hot belief, then what is stopping you? Where is that holding you back? And especially when we only have 4 days in the month left, I think that what happens is that the fear, the unknown, all of our weaknesses are exposed, because they're like, well, I don't want rejection and I only have 4 days. And what we don't want you to do is go out there with this phrase they call commission breath. I need that money. I need to go. Like, that's not the goal here. Again, a lot of what we're saying here is about how we are in service of others. And if you bring yourself, and I'm going to tell, I call it my asparagus story. If you bring yourself into the service of others, my favorite story is that I have always been in the service of my child. I want to make sure they're healthy. I want to make sure that they are growing right and they have their vitamins. And asparagus was the thing I was selling. Right? I was trying to sell them on green vegetables when they were a child. I was that, instead of Legal Shield, it was Asparagus Shield mom who was trying to get this information across to somebody who had a lot of objections. And actually, Jim, you and I should probably do an objection night. I know that a lot of people would love just to kind of see some tools around that at some point. So that's where you'll tuck that away. But when we're talking to people, I think the big shift is that we don't feel like we have purpose, because it feels like it's just for us. Joe told me to go protect 4 people, and now I have to do this for me. When if we look at it is that I want you to protect 4 people, because then you're going to have protected 4 families. You know, that's a very different tact. You are in service of them. And I think that also goes to, how do we talk to them, especially the person who you probably burned through when you first started being an associate, where you called and you did everything wrong. And you're like, I'm so embarrassed. And I know I talked too much. And I didn't even know I didn't even know what I was doing. And so, especially in our warm market, which is our loved ones, people who know us, love us, probably trust us, that is the time to just become clean. The way you do it, the how, is to say, you know, I know that when I started this, I may have been a little gung-ho, but my company, I've learned more. My company has done so much, and I would feel terrible if I didn't let you know about some of the things that have come up. You know, would you just give me a few minutes? And when we talk about that phrase, would you just give me, would you watch a video if I sent it to you? Would you check this out? This is very consistent with where we see, especially our youth now, and the ideas of the world, especially around even social justice and how we're respecting each other. It's under the idea of consent. When we're excited and we're like, we have this new thing we want to show everyone, we're not thinking about consent. We're just like, look at this, I can Legal Shield. And now that you have time, you have leadership, you have this regular meeting, you have your feet under you, you may still be a new person. But a better way to look at it is the how is with consent. I've got this thing. I'd really like to show it to you. You don't have, I'm not looking for a sale. I tell people now, this is my phrase. I say, I have one job. I just need you to see it. Don't bring your credit card. Don't bring your checkbook. I don't want that. I just need you to see it. That's all I need. And then that starts to then fold into the trainings that you're getting about exposures per day. when we're talking about our upcoming February PZC Super Saturday with our guest speaker talking about 2 exposures a day, if people are looking at it, they're going to come back and find you when they need it. And that's what you want. So the how, it keeps getting refined. The how is always that question. If I sent you this, would you watch it? And if they say yes, then book that time right there and then. Great, can I follow up with you? If they say no, you can maybe find out, may ask why, or you can just say, well, you know what? I totally understand. How about next month? Would that be a better time for you? Because sometimes we don't know why they're saying no. It could be a million reasons. You called them out of the blue. They're not ready to talk. They don't know how to process. They don't want to be, they're afraid of what they've experienced. But again, if your how is in service of them, then you know that February is next month and March is the month after that. You go, great. You know what? I'm going to be here for the next 20 years. I'm on a journey. So how about this? You tell me when we can get together that's going to make more sense in your schedule. Mid-March work for you? Yeah, I mean, I guess that should be great. You know what I'll do is I'll follow up with you on the first of the month, make sure we hit that time. And then all I want you to do is just watch this 20 minutes. Tell me your thoughts. Jim?
I love that. And listen to what Joe is saying, everyone. She's not saying that you're going to talk to 2 people about signing up and that's it. And you're going to have 2 people sign up because you talked to 2 people. We're going to talk to people every day. We're going to share this. We're going to invite people to learn more every day. And getting those 2 to sign up, there is some urgency around this, right? There's only a few days left in the month. But honestly, most of the work gets done in about 24 to 48 hours every month. It's just some people do it at the beginning because they've been disciplined over time from doing it at the end. And then some people do it at the end. You know, for our Fast Start qualifying associates, they get 20 days to get Fast Start qualified. And this is not a training on that. I don't want to confuse you, but you know, on average, it's done in about the last 48 hours. It's done on day 19 and 20. And the Fast Start 20-day periods always end on Thursdays. And that's why Thursdays are huge, because there's always a bunch of people wrapping up that on Thursdays. That's just our nature until it's not, until the discipline kicks in.
Actually, I want to ask, I have honest people here. Who procrastinates? I sometimes clean my house like crazy, where I should be doing it on scheduled times, but all of a sudden that spot needs to come out of the carpet, right? Who puts it off? Taxes are coming up. Who puts that off? Right? We all got it. Apparently Jim doesn't. I didn't see his hand up. So he does not procrastinate, but the rest of us humble humans, we do.
Let me clarify that, Joe. I am the worst procrastinator in the world, but I know thyself, and
Right?
and I attack that on a daily basis.
And I just love what you said though. But you said is like the business. I mean, when we're talking again, let's just go. We'll go with the 2, right? That it could all happen in 48 hours, except that we procrastinated and we put them at the worst 48 hours of the month. And I actually, one of the things I brought up with Jim, and I want to highlight it, this is our end of month this month is on Sunday, which means we have working backwards. We have Sunday, which is a weekend. We have Saturday, which is a weekend, and we have Friday, which is tomorrow. So we have the end of the work week. And so again, when we're procrastinating, I think there's a healthy amount of procrastinating. Fine, get it done by the 15th. But when you're procrastinating to the end of the month, you're now dealing with other forces that are out of your control. So you might have somebody who's a reinstatement. You might have to do a paper app for somebody. You might need to, you might be doing a group. So we know that there are many different categories of signups, right? Different ways that people are becoming a part of that. What we also have to respect is that we have a headquarters that has timelines and deadlines, and maybe they're not on your radar. So when can you, now that we're coming to the end of the month, I'm gonna ask you, Jim, because I don't know the answer to this. When can you submit a reinstatement in relation to, like, let's say, because we know that Sunday, when does that, do you know when that reinstatement has to be in? Is
that's a great point. So what you want to do is, if it's a reinstatement, really anything outside of a perfect membership, which you have until midnight Central Time on Sunday, You want to get that business in. If it's something you think you're going to need to follow up on tomorrow, ideally before 7 p.m. Central.
And I would even say before 5. So again, and this is why I wanted this conversation, because I think we do talk a lot about the big picture, the big rocks, as they say, right? The big stuff. But some of the little stuff is that I didn't know. Jim, you reminded me, I didn't know about what happens when you place people. So for those who are new, when you bring in associates, you might have somebody that you want to put in a different position, a different line, a different location. If they're your associate, you can move them. It's called placing. When you're first starting, it's not nearly as relevant, but as you start to build your team, you might want to. And there's a specific amount of time that has to happen in. And if you don't do it, especially as we're coming to the end of the month, let's say you sign someone up at 11:59 Central Time, which is 12:59 a.m. for us, we get the extra hour. You have to place them very quickly, otherwise it won't count. Like, that's a really great thing to know. I did not know that. And so what it did for me is, because it all happened at the end, now it caused me having to try to hope that I could fix it in backward, like talk to my leaders, talk to the office, see if I could, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's no need for that. So procrastinate. I'm all for it. But procrastinate to the mid-month, because there you still have you can just keep doing the business. But like for the reinstatements, for certain kind of apps, for things like placing, especially with our final day on Sunday, you want that to happen on Friday. And if you aim for 5 o'clock, the business day, then the likelihood that if you needed a question or an answer, that you would likely get it and be able to continue to move through your weekend, not wondering what's going to happen next. Right?
Perfect. And as you get into the weekend, you're going to be better off with, and also you should always be focusing on trying to use the customer's bank account, checking account to sign them up. It's the highest retention business that we write outside of group sales, because people get new credit cards all the time, but they don't get new checking accounts all the time. Well, it's also far less glitchy, or there's not going to be issues signing up a customer over the weekend with the checking account, most likely, unless it's some wild kind of checking account that's, some internet thing that I'm not aware of. But sometimes people's debit cards don't read as bank cards, and they read as prepaid cards in the system, which kicks it back. So there can be some issues over the weekend when there's no one at the office to rectify that. But you're going to work around that by using the checking account. And again, that's good advice now, but I do that all month long. I prefer the checking account because I know that the retention is far higher on that.
That's a great tip. And again, like, as you're looking at your business this weekend, is that maybe that's the mode you always want to be in. It becomes consistent. And as I'm reading, the John Yeager has a book about I don't know the title offhand, talking about, this is just a story I really liked about it. I was a bartender for many years of my life, and I do like sports, usually the last few minutes of a sport at any time. But the thing I loved about it, and the reason why I thought about this idea of just doing the bank account, is about muscle memory. It's about doing something over and over again, and then you don't even have to think about it. They talked about this football player who had been moved around. He was, he just sat on the bench and sat on this team. And again, I don't even have the names of the teams. Sat on the bench, sat on this team for 10 years. And here they were, finally 10 years later, on this clinch game. Something happened where he got to go in and play, right? He was finally called. Last minute, final minutes of the game. And he just went in there and just did his job. And he was prepared. He already knew what he needed to do. Many of you already know what you need to do, or you need to adjust it to make sure that it's just that smooth thing, so that when you get that prospect, when you get that person signed up, all you got to do is just make that you just know how the play is played. You know where the ball is going. And so that's what that makes me think of, is the bank account. You know what, if you're worried, if you've been having issues with credit card, get people's account, get that routing number, get that account number. I think it also is a great thing to think about this weekend, about how are you qualifying your people, by asking them, do you have a credit card? Have you ever worked for Legal Shield? That's another one. That's a good tip for again, how do you get PC in 4 days? You think about, how do you get people to that place where you know where they are? So you're not finding out as you're filling out that application, you're not finding out at 11 o'clock on Sundays, you're sweating because you're like, am I going to get the final points for that PC? You know, you say, oh, great. It's going to cost money. Do you have a bank account? Have you ever worked for Legal Shield before that you're aware of, or prepaid legal? Because that's a very big, interesting thing that does, especially on a weekend, catch people up. All of a sudden, you don't know, you know, you're saying like, why isn't this going through? Or why is this taking so long? That's another one of those reinstatements.
And the last thing I'll talk about before I go back to, and I'll let you, because we're at the top of the hour, so I'll let you have the last word. But the other thing is, this is, it all these years I've been in this business, it's never been this way. But now you can go back to any customer you sold a product to and help them get something else. So for example, you have a legal plan customer that doesn't have ID Shield, you can sign them up for ID Shield and get the premium dollars for that. That counts for Performance Club. Maybe they need to get a gun owner's plan or a home-based business supplement or a small business plan. Anything else you can sell to that customer, those dollars will contribute to your Performance Club points for qualifying for the month of January.
Yep. And if you've been in the business for over 6 months, is that where you're going to go?
Yes, I want you to do it though.
Okay. If you're in the business over 6 months and you are in an older plan and you're going to upgrade, you can actually upgrade under yourself, but you had to have been in the business over 6 months, and those premium points will count to you as well. So if you have an old identity Shield and you want to go to that 3 bureau, the difference between the two plans will count in your favor. If you're, does that also count for business plans? So if you're in a state that has a business plan?
I don't see why it wouldn't, but it's important to know that that is business they have to process manually. So you want to do that first thing tomorrow morning or tonight after the Zoom.
There you go. That goes back to another time tip, thinking about when those business plans go in to make sure that those things count. Anything that's special, anything that requires a little extra thought, that isn't just going into your website, your checkout, and just going through, you should always think about making sure that those happen during work hours so that you can get the support that you need. Our headquarters is phenomenal. If you're not already plugged into the Facebook Legal Shield associate support page, they are quick. I think they don't sleep. I think we may have clones or some sort of alien that's just like up 24/7. We have not only the community responding and giving their input. I'm definitely on there helping out, but also our headquarters folks are they're phenomenal and right on top of it. So there's so many resources. I I love this this is geeky talk for me. Like, it's the things that we don't necessarily know. So I'm in heaven right now.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify, anytime you're going to upgrade yourself because you qualify for that you've been in the business 6 months or longer. If you've been in the business 6 months or less, go to your sponsor and they will sign you up for any additional products you want to get, but that won't help you get Performance Club points. But if you're eligible to do that for yourself, then you have to do that. There's a link in your LS Engage links that whether you're in the US or Canada, there's a link for each that you fill out a form. It's different than going to your website. So do that. And then the last thing I wanted to say, Joe, and you can have the last word, is this. I'm always trying to find another creative way to say this same thing, but here it is. I don't have any better way to say it. Use your leadership team. They are waiting for your call or your text or your email. They want to help you. That's what I'm going to be doing all weekend. I'm going to be helping my team finish Performance Club, so help some people finish Senior Director and Executive Director. That's what we're doing. It's game time. We know it. The last few days of the month, we train for it. We're ready. We're excited. And then yet there's going to be a whole bunch of people that won't call. And you know what they're thinking? You know what they're telling themselves? Well, they're too busy. They're too important. I don't want to bother them on the weekend. As if you're a distraction from our business. You are our business. And we got in this business to help people. And we know we can help more people if we help you help people too. So that exponentially we can protect more families than we could ever do on our own. Joe, back to you for your final words. This has been one of my favorite topics. I'm geeking out too, because I just love, listen, legal is my business. It's also my hobby. I just love this. So I'll give you the final words. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, Jim. You know, I absolutely love this. I love the geek talk. I know that sometimes when I have been talking to people, not just people in my own team, when you take on leadership, we're called what's called downline neutral, which means that we're here for all of you. And so I've been talking to different folks and just reminding them that, yes, go back to your leadership, dive into your team culture. And I will say that sometimes maybe your team culture isn't the right one. The thing is that we're all here for each other. The goal is, how do we make sure that we make you find the standards that you want every month? I see Connie has added, she has a longtime Legal Shield associate doing such wonderful things. And she's just reminding us that add-ons and supplements have deadlines before midnight on Sunday, and that the raise your belief is the phrase that they're talking about when it comes to upgrading your own. Thank you so much, Connie, for that. You know, if I love tips and tricks, I'm a geek for this kind of knowledge. It's just so fun. It's just so fun. And I hope that we brought some of this business stuff to you and just made it just even a little bit more fun. And I hope that you're going to look at the next 4 days and think about what you can do, not only for your own self by creating an opportunity, talking to somebody, maybe setting up a PZC. I have a PZC at 10:30 tonight because I looked at 2 new associates and said, you got to do 100 before the end of the day. And I said, bring people, let's do it, right? Think about, do you have any business that maybe you're a little unsure of? Try to get that done tomorrow. What if by doing that, you reached out to your old members, made sure that they had all of the services. It also improves your customer service, which improves your retention, which very likely before you hang up with that person, even if they say no, you can ask for a referral. It's possible you could be PC qualified tomorrow. And then Saturday and Sunday's gravy. It's just extra, or it's just the path to the next thing. I want to thank you guys all for coming, for listening to us, for allowing us to geek out. I think that's what this is. It's really Thursday nights is the opportunity to geek out with you all and to just really share some tips and tricks and to just bring us all forward. I want to thank you so much for your time, for your dedication to your businesses, for wanting to hear from us. And with lots of love, I wish you the most amazing end of January. I cannot wait to see what the slides have to offer next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Best of luck to all of you. Go out there, be amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.